What's up, world? What's up, Zion? It's Prince Easy coming at you again once more, as usual. This fine day that we're having here. Right? Before we get to the slides, of course, I want to issue a fair use disclaimer for the material that's going to be shared in this here post. Right? For the purpose of education, news sharing, and criticism. So. Let's dive into it without further ado, right? Well, some individuals want the world to burn so bad that now they're stooping so low as to, I don't know, gaslight, because this is what this is, right? Gaslight. Just like the first time this so-called paper tiger, we need a new catchphrase or something. Is that what you call it? Well, there's been concern that this money would not reach the intended group, and it all comes down to management, right? Me personally, that's what I think, right? That's what I think. And of course, we have done hard conversations about how this money is going to be spent, right? Not just spent and returned, but for it to have actual impact, right? That has to be systematic, right? It has to be systematic, targeting for that matter, or else most of the money is just going to end up buying border, you know. Right? All I'm saying is observe, right? Observe how this is spent and then learn and advise, right? Well, now you might wonder, how then does the elite of the United States view Cuba's mission, medical mission in the world, as them losing control, right? I don't know, but that's where we are, and that's what it is, right? So it is a struggle. Let's just say that it is a struggle. These people do not think like you and me. They are not there to better humanity, but rather just take it to the world as far as they can, raping each and everything. And that's the reality that we are living in. Right? They view it as the Cubans are, I don't know, ruining their investments, right? And by investments, I mean the diseases they cause, right? If cures are being found, it's a problem, right? No return on investment, so to speak. That's what's up. True. It could, it definitely will. Just as whatever is going on now goes against international law. What has been going on has been against international law. Information coming out of Sudan. So this EU security official, this is some crazy stuff, right? Pay attention here, brothers and sisters. Behold, right? So the Washington Post, citing EU security officials reported by the European Pravda, Hungarian news portal Telex, right? According to WP, the Hungarian minister has been regularly providing, in quotation, live reports on what has been discussed, on quotation, at EU meetings and information on possible solutions. Through such calls, every single EU meeting for years has basically had Moscow behind the table. The unnamed European official has said, right? For years, Viktor Orban's government has provided Moscow with a crucial window into sensitive EU discussions, both through its official and thanks to Russian hackers penetrating the computer network of the Hungarian Minister of Foreign Affairs, according to several current and former European officials, including that former head of Hungarian cyber defense service. The leader of the opposition, Tsaza party, this guy Peter, reached the Washington Post's reporting by calling a traitor to Hungary. During a speech to supporters reported by Telex, Magyar said, "The fact that Hungary Foreign Minister, a close friend of Sergei Lavrov, is reporting to the Russians on every EU meeting almost minute by minute is outright treason. This man has betrayed not only his country but Europe as well." Russian intelligence agency plans a fake attack on Orban to influence election results. An internal report by Russian operatives obtained by European Intelligence Service said it is necessary to implement a strategy capable of fundamentally altering the entire paradigm of the election campaign by organizing an assassination attempt on Orban. Such an accident will shift the perception of the campaign out of the rational realm of socioeconomics questions into an emotional one, where the key themes will become state security and stability of defense of the political system. The report for the SVRS main unit for political influence operation directorate, they said this. There have been no physical attack on Orban so far. The fact presented, however, shows how high the stakes are for Russia in the Hungarian election, the Washington Post says. So, that is EU for you, right? So, let's not pretend like we did not see this coming. We saw this coming, right? The threats to Orban's life, right? Him and his family were made publicly for all of us to behold and see. But I think we refused to see what that was, right? And for those who are not aware, well, this is all about the 90 billion so to speak, the 90 billion quote-unquote loan that is to be given to Ukraine. And also it is about a gas pipeline coming from Russia headed to Orban's country. So yeah, it is a vicious circle that has been initiated in Europe over there, right? And again, Slovakia and Hungary, yeah, you need to watch your back. I just want you to know that these people do not play fair, right? They recently came out here and then threatened the AES, one of its members anyway. Please. I just read to you the reality, right? They just make up stuff, right? So they say this EU member has been leaking information, right? They went as far as to say minute by minute, right? Literally, the man was streaming. Yeah, he was streaming the conference, right? Live streaming the conference to Russia, right? This is what these people are selling us right now as we speak. Okay? So yeah, they want that 90 billion, man. And what are they willing to do for 90 billion? I don't know. You tell me. Then again, if you have an answer to that question, then I believe you can calculate, right? You can calculate how far are they willing to go, right? And come up with a approximate action, right? That's the bigger question, I believe. Yeah. No, they don't view it as a global catastrophe, as Mr. Scott Ritter here put it. They don't view it like that, right? They don't view it like that. They don't see the suffering, or basically what do they call it? Yeah, they call it blowback, because it is, again, not personal in any way, right? It's not personal anyway, right? They're just making money hand to fist at this point with every scam they could master. Well, to people like this, these are the times when times like this, I like to refer to the answer that Christ gave when he asked about what should happen to people who harm children, right? He said their fate would be much worse than having a stone, a grinding stone, tied to their neck and cast into the ocean. And this is how exactly I feel about it. Right? This is exactly how I feel about it. These are the Zionists. Right? These are the people that want to make peace or want to be the peacemakers of the world. Right? The great Middle East democracy. The only. And then you see this. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the US says. All that matters is what it does. China has no intention of doing nothing if somebody does not interfere. Namely the Europeans, the Americans, and the Japanese, the new players into the whole situation. Just so you know. On positive news. So this is what came out of Iran. Do they have a point? This demon is back, right? Just came out of the grave, you know. This is what he tweeted out, calling it productive. Just like Maduro, just like Yemen, just like everywhere. Very productive. But it ends up catastrophically. Let's just put it that way. Well, stop it. You're not forced at gunpoint to do nothing. Yeah, like I said, he's getting what he's deserving. Just so you know. Also, on the other side of the same spectrum, might wonder, is there the other side? Yes, there is. Well, this is all about narrative control, right? This is why this guy started this whole campaign. If I'm not mistaken, it was last year. All of a sudden, right, out of the blue, right, just like the D-Wave CEO with the quantum computing, we are summoning demons of old, right? So this guy all of a sudden started talking about the Antichrist and this and that and this and that and that, and again, like I said, it is all narrative control. They know exactly what time it is, so they have to make their guy to be the good guy when it comes down to it, because it's gonna come down to it, right? This is just the beginning, right? This is the guy who, in resistance or something, wore a pin, right? One of those pins you put on the coat that had a noose. Basically, he was campaigning for the execution of prisoners, Palestinians. This demon. There are some countries that see the situation for what it is and not for what they want it to be, which we refer to as delusions. Ice strikes again. He strikes again. He is saying that he and the new regime, right after he brags that he wiped out the old regime, he and the new regime will be working jointly to control the Strait of Hormuz. He just literally said that with a straight face. This is what Secretary of War is saying, right? And it might be tempting for those what I refer to as delusional Christians to stay silent. It might be tempting, but these people are not with you. So we shall see what happened to the market, and we shall judge if this guy is lying or telling the truth. $2 trillion. These people are wealthy. Why would they waste time writing a book, right? I think we fail to realize how much of our daily struggles dictate how we see life and how we live it. I don't think we apprehend that sometimes. Yeah. If you want more examples, right? If you want more examples, if the examples that we have seen so far are not adequate enough to show you that what we are dealing here is thank you for the heads up. So how many thousands of people died? All of this blood in your hands. And how are you supposed to pay it? How? Money? Please. This is exhausting, right? This is exhausting at this point. A Jewish ambulance. Yeah, he did. So apparently the Iranians came and refuted. They claimed that the attack on NATO was conducted by them. Now it has only been Starmer giving out grandiose statements as usual. So, you see these two groups, gangster disciples, black disciples. These are groups of gangs that got a lot of people killed. Well, what is the common thing between them? You can look it up. Gangster disciples versus the black disciples. Okay? And most importantly, pay attention to the symbolism. Right? It is always satanic, or rather occultic. Why? Because these are sacrifices. Right? They literally tell you in songs, kill a person, live a good life. We are familiar with this type of magic and the price that comes with it. And of course, you can also understand who is behind it just by the symbolism. Who is behind this murder here? So yeah, that was a bird's eye view, so to speak, of everything that is unfolding, right? I do my best to stretch as far as I possibly can when it comes to coverage, right, of subjects. And of course, we shall continue to do this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything more to add as of now. So I'm gonna put a pin on it right there, and we're gonna see each other when we rather hear from each other. Vince Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.